Hey guys, Fridges here, and I have got some incredible news for you. Today, I was extremely lucky. I was given the privilege of hosting an Ask Me Anything with Max. He is the lead developer for BlackMatter, who alongside Team 17 have produced the amazing game that we all know and love, HellLetLoose. Not going to make a long intro, guys. Just a quick few thank yous, especially to Max, Jono, Spano, and Jaguar. The Team Dix members, Soundboard, Chuck Dix, Aggressor, all of my mods, Kumquat Gnome especially, for being my co-host. We have Hail Blue, we have Freak Fighter, just so many people who made all of this possible. If I was here mentioning everybody's name who was involved, guys, we'd be here all day. You guys know who you were. I personally thanked everybody after every stream for everything they done for me. This weekend was awesome. Just real quick, if you have been considering getting Hell Let Loose, guys, it is currently 20% off on Steam for the winter sale. Now is your chance to pick it up. Thank you very much for checking out the video. Enjoy the AMA, and I will catch you guys the next time. Peace. Is this the beautiful Max himself?
Oh, I think beautiful's a bit of a stretch, but
I don't know about that now. I'll go all the way to clarify that you were a beautiful man. Okay, so for everybody in chat, currently we have Max. He is the lead developer for BlackMatter. BlackMatter and Team 17 have created the beautiful game we all know and love, Hell Let Loose. Just to start off, Max, first of all, thank you for taking part in the interview. I know this isn't your first one, so thank you for the effort, and obviously I hope you're enjoying the holidays. First of all, just for everybody on Steam and watching Twitch right now who are new to the game, obviously all the veterans and everybody considering getting the game, why don't you give yourselves a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks so much for having me on, by the way. It's always amazing to be able to jump in, chat to the community, chat to yourself, and just really get a chance to talk about this this game that we're making, that we're in the process of making. But yeah, just to give everyone a bit of a background, my name is Max. I am the, I kind of get a lot of different titles depending on sort of what day of the week it is or whatever I'm doing at the time. I'm basically the head of a company called BlackMatter, which is the developer of Hell Let Loose. On a day-to-day basis, I do a lot of game design, I do a lot of art direction, I oversee a lot of the mapping in the game, and basically just work with all the team and help organize all the team as we move towards our development goals.
Awesome. My chat just said to tell you that they love you already, just to let you know.
Oh no, make me earn it, because you know, this is a community game. Without the community, there is no game. No, we really recognize that the community is the absolute core of this game. So we just are keen to keep improving it and pushing it forward.
Well, I just want to say on that as well, the way you said community makes the game, I want to point out that you guys have done a fantastic job. I've experienced it myself, communicating with all of us, everybody who enjoys the game, the reports, the questions, everything. You guys have been on point every single day, answering every question you can. Any bug fixes that needed to be fixed, you've been on point. You guys have been fantastic interacting with the community. And I think you earned your own respect in that matter. So I suppose next is, so far in 2019, obviously the game came into early access this year. How do you guys feel about your accomplishments so far in 2019?
Oh, I mean, I think it's been a bit of a surreal one, really. Really appreciate that, you know, I guess you've noticed the interaction with the community. I think overall we're just super thrilled that the game has sort of been as popular as it has. We knew that the main thing that we needed to do, and when I say popular, I know that you know, when you compare it to like a giant AAA title, Obviously, we're not seeing any numbers kind of like that, but we always knew from the start that this would be about finding the community, finding the players who wanted something a bit different to what was current to them. And feeling like if we built the game for them, then, so long as we stick to our guns and continue to do that, that hopefully people will be interested. It's definitely felt like we've seen a lot of other games sort of come out and they will be completely, obviously everyone's aware that there have been some really fantastic indie World War II games that have come out, different stuff to us. And then obviously there have been AAA World War II games as well that have come out. And so it's really felt like with HellLetLoose that we've had to prove ourselves to be something different. We've had to prove ourselves, FPS styles that we had something new to offer. And to be honest, we've just been delighted that every time post about it on Reddit, or they'll jump in the Discord, or they'll make posts on the forum. It's just a dream come true. Positive that the community has some fantastic communities within the community, obviously. Many present here now. All of this stuff is we are super thankful for, and we work rapidly expand through our early access period as we introduce
you're cutting out a bit there, Max.
But no, super higher than we predicted. Consistently, which is the connection okay? I was just explaining to the guys, for anyone watching on Twitch, that I've moved into a new apartment, which is exactly what you want to do around Christmas time if the stress wasn't enough.
I can imagine.
And I'm experiencing some internet issues.
You seem pretty clear right now, actually. I think it just kind of cleared itself up there a little bit. So,
perfect. So yeah, just to quickly recap. So very thankful for the community finding the game, and then enjoying what we feel we do uniquely. Within obviously lots of amazing World War II game, and we're very aware the game is selling. Very thrilled with the consistency of it, and we're very, very, very excited. If this is early access, we are very excited for next year and then for the years to come beyond that.
I actually have to jump on board there with that as well. For an early access game, what you guys have already achieved is incredible. It's mind-blowing. The progress that we've seen, even as the player base itself, watching the player base grow, the commitment that a lot of players have to the game, because we know the devs are working hard behind the scenes, always keeping us up to date. You guys have done an absolutely incredible job, and we were just saying even before the interview with all the viewers in the chat that everybody is excited to see what 2020 brings for HellLetLoose. Especially with how much progress you've made this year. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, I really appreciate it. I mean, like, look, the team has been working very hard. I say that as, I mean, like, we're kind of all in it together.
Yeah.
But our team is our family now, and we work with each other nearly every day of the week, really. And we are, we know each other personally so well, despite us being all around the world. And it's just been super exciting to just keep working and keep introducing stuff. And it's quite strange for us as devs, because often we are, I think, probably about 3 or 4 months ahead of what you guys are seeing. And so there are many aspects of the game yet that I'm used to for about 2 months now that no one has seen anything of yet. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to get
you're teasing me now.
these new things in.
So you're gonna have to stop teasing me now, Max. Okay, I'm currently getting used to the new update. Okay, you can't get me excited about another one yet.
Yeah. Oh no. But you're spot on. Like 2020 is going to be a really exciting year. We've been really fortunate because of the support. We've been really fortunate to be able to expand the team. Team 17, our publisher, have been fantastic in really rising to the challenge of helping support us, and it has required a whole lot of planning in order to update this quickly with this many significant features. Obviously, some persistent bugs remain. The experience bug is probably the most annoying thing ever, which has taken the place of the old VoIP bug that we had, which still every now and then rears its head. But yeah, 2020 is going to be a big time, a lot of quality assurance checking, a lot of updates, a lot of patches, and just a lot more content to come.
Absolute music to my ears. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm sure everybody in chat is happy to hear that. I suppose the next question. So we know the previous animation update that you done was fantastic. We know you're working on a new one. What is the progress on the new animation system so far? And if so, can you go into detail on why you guys and the community believe it's so crucial for the game?
This is probably... I annoy everyone in the team with this just constantly because I'm so obsessed with it. So from my perspective, when we began making HellLetLoose, we really were hobbyists, you know, like 2 of the 3 team members had never worked on a game before. So we were really kind of putting it together as we went. And we made some decisions early on that, drastically increased our workflow, drastically increased the actual time it took to set up like one gun. And then also hamstrung us in many ways where we would have to sort of play one animation, which was the walk animation, and then we play the reload animation, and the walk animation ends, and it's then the reload animation, and it was very binary. And you'd get sort of weird desyncs between the two. What this new animation said, so we stepped back from that and we said, okay, if we keep this, which we could, we will basically, our entire lives will be about implementing new factions weapons, because it will take so long to do all of this stuff, and then we'll end up with a result that people feel is a bit clunky, a bit heavy. And I think when I play the game now, the live build, I actually, it's the thing I struggle with the most, because having seen the new stuff, the stuff currently in the game is like, it's hard to look past. But basically, so what the new animation system does is we've replaced the FPP hands. The hands are now a photo reel. They're an actual photo scan that we've rigged and skinned. The hands match the customization that you have on. So for all those players who have unlocked the winter coats, you'll notice that you're wearing gloves. Well, once we bring in the new animation system, your hands will then have your gloves on, or whatever you're wearing in the TPP, in the full body, you'll be wearing in the FPP. So the hands are now really nicely proportioned as well. The guns feel much. The whole thing on screen almost makes it look like a completely new game, and it's quite weird because I feel like our maps are we've done relatively well on the graphical side of the maps, but for me, seeing the current FPP rig on screen, it's quite basic, particularly when you compare it to the new FPP setup and animation system. And basically what this does, it's kind of twofold. Number one is that the whole thing looks nicer because the hands are better proportioned. I mean, think Battlefield, think Modern Warfare, I think Insurgency Sandstorm have done a good job. Games like those where I think the FPP stuff on screen looks really AAA, really great. That's where we're at with that now. And then on top of that, the way that we've done our animations is far more procedural. People will have found that when you fire a gun in HellLetLoose currently, the recoil is very binary. Yes, the gun will lift, but it will feel like it's playing an animation and the gun lifts. With the new system, you can be firing your weapon and the recoil will be procedurally bouncing the gun back within a set of parameters, but it basically feels incredibly smooth. The guns have a lot more life to them. We haven't changed the handling in so much as we really like the fact that it feels quite reliable in the game, in so much as if you can line up a shot and take the shot, you'll kill the person you hit. We haven't made it so you're battling against the aiming system, but if you've played sort of Modern Warfare or Battlefield, we've been very fortunate to work with a first-person animation artist who has worked on many AAA AAA games, AAA first-person shooters, and our third-person animation overhaul is equally significant, and that has been done by a large number of the team who worked on. I think I've said this elsewhere, but previous Battlefields. So when we've wanted to keep this undercover because it is such a significant update to the game, in my opinion, that we need to present it in its entirety, because for us it's going to be the thing that differentiates us in our perspective from an indie game to more looking like a AAA title. Particularly in the feel, particularly in the way things look, particularly in the way things handle. It's really phenomenal, and the job that the guys have done is just amazing. So lots of procedural blending of animations when you, instead of walking and then you stop walking and you fire, instead of it stopping the animation, it blends the two together in a way that is really satisfying. Everything feels very, very fluid. The vaulting, the mantling, all that stuff has had a massive overhaul. The MG deployment stuff is another area that we wanted to really polish and tighten up. And so we've got the bipod moving independently of the gun now. There's just so much stuff in there that just feels 100 times better. It looks 100 times better. We really feel it's one of the major things holding us back currently. And then the absolute best case is that it actually optimizes everything. It optimizes the time it takes for us to set up new weapons. It optimizes the actual game itself. We're using less animations. It's less heavy. So everything about it is really significant. And then I should also say, all of our new TPP stuff is all mocapped in Vancouver. It's not hand-keyed animation. I don't want to lean on other things that other titles have done very well and say it's exactly like that, but in so much as the third person movement and things like that, I'm confident to say, and with HellLetLoose we never talk about anything that we're not certain of, but I'm confident to say that I think you're going to look at a lot of that TPP stuff and see. I don't want to talk it up too much, because I know that with game development, there's always someone who might feel that we could have done better. But from my perspective, I feel that it is very, very exciting, and it's very close to AAA quality, if not AAA quality. So yeah, I can kind of talk about this for the next 2 hours, but okay. For me, this is a huge, huge part of it. And just finally, weirdly enough, with the new recoil systems, with the new movement systems, it has this strange effect of feeling like the graphical quality of the game has increased and massively stepped forward. It feels like all the sounds sound better, and that's also not in part also due to the fact that we've upgraded the sound engine and we're constantly refining that. So yeah, the animation system stuff is enormous for us for so many reasons, and it's really one of the big things that we're excited about for next year, along with lots of other stuff as well.
Yeah, I think based on everything you said there, there's already proof in the game that it's going to be a massive success, in my opinion. The community is obviously very excited about it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You can see in the game, one of the main roles I play is the MG, and even the hand animations when you go from hip firing to bipod, everything, it's just so smooth and incredible. The new planes, the new audio for planes that came out with the recent update, you can see the progress that's being made in the game, and that kind of confirms for us that we know you guys are doing a fantastic job. So I think everybody is extremely excited about what's coming in the animation updates, the audio updates, everything like that. So it's all great to hear. So the next...
I'm glad. Thank you.
No, and everybody in chat right now is extremely excited. In fact, everybody's just asking, just give us a little tease. Just a little bit, but...
We were thinking... we have a pretty cool video. We've got many cool videos of stuff that, because we do whip meetings and we like to show stuff off to different parts of the team and stuff like that, so that the whole team can feel like, even though they're not seeing the animation updates every day, they can see where it's at. And we saw one just the week before last week, and so tempted just drop that in the Discord. But I think that there's been I think about 4 months in the works now, and so I need to hold it a little bit longer, because to present it in its proper glory, because for me it's probably one of the most exciting things. I mean, that I do love much exciting stuff, and every time I wake up and I log on and have a look at stuff, there's new stuff. But it is definitely one of the most significant things. But yeah, also, just to quickly speak to what you said, I think that sort of captures our method of development. We are a pretty small but very passionate team, and it's really exciting to hear you point out, the improvements to the planes. I just want to assure the community that we read the Discord, we read the Reddit, we love your suggestions, we love your feedback. It's just awesome to see you engaging with the game. I just want everyone to know and be assured that if you don't like something, there's probably a pretty high chance we don't like it either. And to that end, it's normally on a list of to do. And then we basically are just working through that list and trying to, always trying to refine whatever we're doing, always trying to make it better. And this, really is a live development cycle. It's going to be like this for a long time to come, before we sit back as a team and say, you know what, I've got nothing more to polish here. I've got nothing more to add. It's always going to be. And I think for this Christmas, what we're doing as a team is stepping back, hopping in the game, playing the game, trying to play it for many hours on end, so that we can get as better sense of the meta, better sense of the niggling issues as everyone else. And then go back to our list of priorities, reprioritize it, and just do another little temperature check on everything and make sure we're heading in the right direction.
Awesome. It's fantastic here. I think the community is happy that you guys are also happy as well. The main thing is keeping the community happy is one thing, but the devs also have to be happy with their game. The fact that the community and the devs both obviously want the same thing for the game to succeed and both work together is just, the cherry on top. So the next question is, obviously the Higgins boats were a massive success AI-wise on Omaha for the beach landings. Would you guys be willing to use that system to bring paratroopers to HellLetLoose? For example, player airdrops from AI planes.
So this has been something we've kind of tossed up and down a huge amount with thinking about. There's so much. There are so many different things we could do here. I think that the para dropping stuff would be, I suppose, an obvious win, given that we've got a lot of the infrastructure for the Higgins boat set up.
Yeah. And you did throw out the teaser in the update as well of the uniform. I think everybody's been asking that.
Yeah. I think we have to include the Fallschirmjäger and obviously the airborne uniform. I think that we are going to do. I don't want to, like everything, I always want to be a bit careful, because if we haven't done it and I'm not playing it on our test build, I don't want to say, we're going to do it. But it seems like a pretty obvious thing to me to do. We haven't planned it out just yet. But a lot of the things that were stopping us from doing it before, namely that, you could see the edge of the map and that the map ended and that it was very jarring. We've actually changed in the last 4 or 5 months the way that we create maps, the way that we build them, and we've done stuff that means that the bounds of the map are greatly extended. So I think the previous things that were holding us back from doing it, namely that it would feel ugly for you to fly over an obviously finite landscape. I think those things now we're not so concerned about, because in all of our new maps, and we're going to go back and retcon the previous maps as well, all of that has sort of been solved to a degree. So I think that the para dropping stuff is definitely an obvious thing to do. I think we're just trying to figure out how we do it.
Right. So it's
and where
definitely
we
something
do it.
you want to do. It's just something that you can't guarantee right now because you have to figure out how to do it first.
Exactly, yeah, and sort of like also considerations of, well, if we do that, is it a separate unit type? Is it a way that every player starts the game? Is it how exactly will it work? And then making sure that it's like really that for us it's really fun, and it really gives you that sense of dropping in to an active battlefield in World War II. But then it also makes sense, and it doesn't feel like it's just there so that we can say that it's there. We really don't like putting anything in and then it not performing sort of as you would expect it to. Obviously, people have different agreements about whether we've done that with other stuff, but we always try and make sure to do something like this and dedicate a lot of dev resources to it, that it really feels legit and that it feels fun, and that we definitely took a little bit of balancing with the Higgins boats as well, and I think there's still a little bit more balancing to do, but I think we're almost there.
I think we all have
exactly
faith in you for that. I don't think anybody's worried. You guys have done a fantastic job on everything so far. So I'm pretty sure everybody has faith in you right now. We just have to be patient and let you guys do what you do best at this point. So if Paratroopers do come, we'll be patient enough.
Yeah, that's it for us. We just, if we have time, we can basically do anything.
Exactly.
It's kind of the general rule. Yeah.
Exactly. What vehicles do you have planned for 2020? Now, there's been a lot of speculation about the leak you gave us in the roadmap. A lot of people saying it is the Sherman Jumbo. Obviously, we don't have confirmation on that. That's pretty much the majority of the community's opinion. Is there any specific vehicle models you can talk about? For example, what the heavy tank is going to be, or there was a lot of talk about transport vehicles coming to game. Are you able to talk about that yet, or is that still kind of like in the works, or not confirmed yet?
No, sure. I can talk about all of that actually.
Awesome.
I mean, I think the sleuths have got it. We're looking at the Sherman Jumbo. For the US heavy tank, we're just figuring out how we balance it, make sure that it feels considerable, but that there are certain qualities to it that differentiate it from the other Sherman. I think that we need to introduce the non-upgunned normal. I'm gonna get the caliber wrong because I've been staring at them all day. But we're gonna introduce the M4A1 stock Sherman as well. We are very, very excited to introduce the recon vehicles. We've had a massive think about how we do them, and the recon generally, how we do it. And we've got some ideas that we haven't really seen in these types of games before. I want to assure the community that you're not going to have, I don't want to talk bad about other games, but you're not going to have sort of like any shortcuts as to spotting people or anything like that. But we've got a kind of a fun recon idea that would tie in really nicely to the command. It would tie in really nicely to the artillery, and it would give the recon units a specific purpose other than just using a sniper rifle. And it would also give the recon vehicles a purpose other than just shooting people. Because for us, the main question is, well, if you're in a recon vehicle, what differentiates it from a light tank, besides the fact that it has less armor and is slightly more maneuverable? Within the nature of HellLetLoose, we want to make people use it for reconnaissance. And so what does that look like within the game? So I've got some mechanics around all that. They tie into sort of the commander abilities. We're super excited about that. So Sherman Jumbo, there are going to be other Shermans coming, not with the Jumbo. The Jumbo will be first, and then recon vehicles. And the recon vehicles are wheeled vehicles. And the reason we're going to introduce them first is because we'll then time the transport trucks and the Jeeps and all that sort of stuff with or just shortly after the animation overhaul, because they're very tightly tied together, because you're sitting in the back of a truck with one another, and we want to make sure that we just do this once properly, then sort of reanimate everything for the new plan. So we've got the wheeled vehicles. Basically, 2020 is every single thing you've seen, in so much as the vehicles that we've already got. We need to do the half tracks. We need to do. We've got the mobile artillery. Those will come much later, mainly because we're trying to figure out how we make them special and how we create a good relationship with them, with the artillery. What are the uses of that? We'd like to do assault guns, and we'd like to do tank destroyers as well. So just to quickly recap, Sherman Jumbo, I think we need to do the Panzer IV as well. Excuse me. Just trying to run through my list. Trucks, jeeps, and then mobile artillery. But the mobile artillery is lower priority right now.
Sorry, I'm just mind blown by everything that you just said. I am extremely excited after what I just heard. Oh, wow. Oh my god, that is amazing. I am extremely excited. Extremely. That is fantastic to hear. Everybody in chat right now is losing their mind. Brilliant to hear.
Oh, no, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be... I know that... I think beforehand I always assumed that in a perfect world we'd have every vehicle good to go from the outset. And I think that, if we do a HellLetLoose 2 in years to come, then we'll have these concepts more established. But it has been a bit of a blessing to be able to come at these almost one at a time to sort of say, hey, what will make a half track interesting? Like, what will make you feel like this half track is being utilized in the same way that it was in World War II? And I have to say that the community have been super lovely, super patient with us. And that time has also given us a chance to look at each vehicle and say, what makes this interesting? What makes it, what does this bring to the recipe of the way that you win the game? And so we're super fortunate as well that the community has been patient with us, particularly with the animation overhaul, obviously. Setting back the transport vehicles and the supply vehicles. And right now, we're just kind of working through each blockage. And then once we clear the blockage, then we implement the new thing, and then we clear a new blockage, implement the whole new thing, and slowly just try and, push it to a point where you have the full array of vehicle types you've got. And then ideally being able to choose between different variants and choosing to spawn different variants is ultimately where we want to get to.
I think everything you just said, a massive testament to everybody working on the game right now. A big part of why I believe, and the community believes, HellLetLoose is so successful is because, as you just said, you're not just putting half-tracks in the game for the sake of saying that you have half-tracks in there. You want them to be authentic and used in the way they actually were, which is what the community wants anyway. So just even the fact that you guys are saying that is incredible. Because a lot of games, not to, darken another game's name, is they just put them in to have them in there. But you guys are actually putting them in there for the sake of them being used authentically the way they were in World War II, which is extremely fantastic to hear, because in a game like this, that is what's important. So that's really good to hear.
Oh, I appreciate it. No, I mean, look, it's fun. It's really fun for us, it's something really awesome to be able to step back, read a lot of the doctrine around the way that these different vehicles or whatever were used within the war, and then obviously specific to the army, specific to the nation, and then have a think about how that could interact with what we've already got in the game. It's just lots of fun, and it's something that we really enjoy, and we really enjoy the challenge of it. So no, we're as excited as a community for this stuff. And like everything, if something doesn't work, or people are feeling like, oh, what, this could be more effective, or this is too effective, well, then obviously we are really keen to engage in those conversations, to play it, to see what we think of it, and to get more, polish it up as much as possible.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows as well, guys, the devs also play this game. It's not something they just create and don't play. They go into the game, they play it for themselves, they find the issues, they find things that they feel could be done better, and they work their asses off to make them better. So it's not just always the community communicating with the devs. The devs are also putting in the work behind the scenes, jumping onto the servers and seeing what can be made better or what can be changed for the better. I do have to ask, so in your previous AMA with Chuck, I know you guys said at any given time you guys are always working on at least 3 maps at any given time. So I suppose my next question would be, seeing as you got the FOI overhaul complete and Seymour Église released, That is two new openings for two new maps. Are you able to give us any teasers there, or what you have planned down the line? We've seen the roadmap, and obviously in Update 5, which is said to be early February, one iconic backer map. I don't know if you're able to go into detail about that, or just give a slight little hint or something. If not, it's fine. But are you able to share anything with us on that topic?
Yeah, so I mean, I have to be a bit careful, because I think different people will be a bit annoyed with me if I let too many cats out the bag. But
I can understand.
Suffice to say that the Foy overhaul was done by myself and another team member, and I am not officially part of the mapping team. That meant that the 3 maps underway weren't affected by that at all. So what we kind of do is we try and have 3 maps underway at any one time, with set deadlines. And then at the same time, I will tend to assess the older maps, Saint-Marie de Mont, Herken, being the 2 really big ones that need a big overhaul. And so I will look at them, and then I'll review also the maps that are currently underway. So basically, the way that we're thinking is that we feel that we need a minimum of 10 maps for the Western Front. By Western Front, obviously, I mean what we have currently, which is the Americans fighting. We need 10 maps minimum to make up our campaign mode. And the way that the campaign mode is going to be structured is that we can always add maps to it. We can always add new territories to it and keep fitting them in. But we think that 10 minimum is kind of what we want to do. As you guys have probably seen, we're not really interested on a creative level in just making the same thing over and over again. It gets incredibly boring to obviously just churn out another Normandy map. Is not really what we're super interested in doing.
I can understand.
So fundamentally, we come at this stuff and say, okay, if we are going to do another Normandy map, and there are a couple more to do, then what makes this so different to everything else? When you see a screenshot of a map, we want you to be able to say from one screenshot, oh, that's this map. Oh, that's this map. Oh, I know that's exactly this. We know, like the community, that it's completely uninteresting if we churn out Saint-Marie de Mont with the things mixed up again. Do you know what I mean? More like we'll just move the hedgerows around, chuck the same buildings in. That's not particularly compelling to play. So the new maps, one is a Normandy map, but it has a very, very different look. It has a very different set of challenges. It is going to be where armor shine, but we've built in a lot of capacity for infantry to move around the map for good cover. But you're going to be doing a lot of armor dueling. The armor's going to be trying to hunt the armor. We've got another map that is incredibly vertical. You've seen some images of it. It's a forest map. Obviously, we'll. I think people have got a pretty good sense of what it is, but. It's got a mixture of forest, the iconic location in it. It's got rivers. It's got a town in it. It's got a couple of fields. And we're super excited for that one because we really feel like the visual fidelity of our mapping is sort of just constantly increasing. The community may not agree, but we sort of feel like we're getting a sense of how to make stuff look quite nice.
You guys definitely have you do a great job of making things look nice, so don't worry about that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I think it's just our challenge, right? It's what gets us up in the morning, is not just looking nice, but also fundamentally asking questions about, and also it's been a process of discovery for us, like what works from a mapping perspective. And I think that was why, obviously, with the Foy overhaul, we added in so many of the embankments, because we need more micro terrain for it. We need you to be able to take cover. We know that that's fun as as an infantryman. You need to be able to hunt vehicles. It's not crossing open ground, and we're slowly learning. Well, hopefully faster now. What seems to work from a mapping perspective, what feels good, what looks good, and so it's this kind of constant process of looking at creating new assets, and then obviously polishing up old ones, overhauling old ones, optimizing old ones. And that's really, what we have in terms of the fun of the mapping. So we've got some locations in Germany, some more locations in Belgium, some more locations in Normandy. We have a big, and I'm sure people can already guess what it would be, a big, like, predominantly city map. It's different to San Meriglise. San Meriglise, obviously, urban map to date. I'm talking like about a proper large scale, like the entire map is urban, and many new buildings, a very different feel, and that we're looking at releasing that kind of in the first third of next year. So forests, we want to do industrial. We haven't yet tackled industrial maps. We've got just a whole bunch of ideas, and then obviously, at some point in the future, we'll then start working as well in tandem on the Eastern Front maps. We don't plan to be in early access forever. That doesn't really mean that our pace of development is going to change. In fact, the pace of development will stay the same. But we definitely want to assure the community that we're not planning to just be in this process, for absolutely ever until you get sick of playing the game and move on to something else. We want some pretty definitive periods where there's significant new content coming in. And obviously for us, it's about production and organizing those dates and making sure that, if we say we're going to release out of it, well, we're then going to need quite a few Eastern Front maps so that it feels, like you've had a full new force and a full new area to explore.
Just a quick personal question. I kind of got the sense when we were going through the maps as they were released that you guys were trying to tell, like, kind of a story as the maps were released. Was that, like, an idea that you had in mind while you were releasing the maps?
Yeah, I mean, I think, ultimately, we're looking a lot. We've looked a lot at, like, Band of Brothers, obviously, Saving Private Ryan. I think for the Western Front, we want to be able to take you from the beaches all the way through to Germany. That would, ideal. And then also paying homage to the history, making sure that the players, even if you're just playing the game incidentally, you might go and watch Band of Brothers, you might go and watch Saving Private Ryan, you might read Wikipedia articles, you might read a fantastic book on it, and then you could kind of piece it together and understand, this unit fought here, this unit fought here. So, for us, like, we're very, very passionate about World War II, and we wanted to make sure that the player base, whether they realized it or not, that they were playing something, that we felt was as kind of close to authentic as we could make.
Yeah, I think, again, the community, I know I keep saying the same thing, but I think everybody can see that as we went along since the game came into early access, even alpha, all the way to where we are right now. The story is definitely developed, and I think everybody can get the sense of, I mean, the amount of people that have come into, the stream and watched the Steam streams, even on the forums, everybody has said, like, oh, after playing this, I want to go watch Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, to get the feel for it and then get back on. And it's almost kind of like an inspiration for the players to, be kind of educate themselves on the history of World War II after playing your game, which is extremely awesome. It's not many games that can claim that they've achieved that,
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, that was for us, I guess. A lot of people have played the alpha. The alpha played very, very differently to what how the game plays right now. And I think in the alpha, we really had to have a bit of a think as a team and a moment where we decided, are we capturing that Band of Brothers experience? Are we capturing that Saving Private Ryan experience? Are we capturing the experience laid out, in the history books? And so, that is something that we constantly go to. We will constantly look. We'll watch media. We'll be reading a huge amount of the history, understanding, like, particularly, what was it like to be in a battle? Was very unique, not unique to World War II, but it was very unique to all battles that came after that, when you had very quick aerial mobility that you could quickly zoom around the environment. And obviously, looking at Vietnam War, the introduction of helicopters meant that it was less about a frontline territorial battle where you could be assured that if you shot to the west, you would be shooting at the enemy, and obviously much more asymmetrical, much less frontline focus. So we felt that there were some really unique aspects of World War II that we felt we had to nail and capture as best we could, and that has been our massive inspiration.
Awesome. So that's basically the gist of the questions we had lined up. Would you mind if I just ask you a few questions from the community in the stream right now? We've got a few lined up.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
First of all, from Smits, he said, if the Jeeps are close to coming out, what is going to be the German equivalent?
The Kubelwagen will be the German equivalent.
Can you say that again? Just so... Kubelwagen, was it?
Yeah, the Kubelwagen. Yeah, okay. It's basically sort of a small... I mean, it's a small four-wheeled vehicle, a bit like the Jeep, very similar to the Jeep. So that will be the main equivalent for the Germans. And then obviously the main thing to understand is once we've tackled and nailed and made something work of a particular type of vehicle, it's very, very quick then for us to iterate out other types of that vehicle.
Yeah.
So the place we'll start for the Jeep, for the very light transport, will be the Kubelwagen and the Jeep. We know that there were, a lot of Dodge vehicles, which were larger troop carriers. We've obviously got trucks playing the openings, the GMC for the US forces. I think the thing to understand is if we bring out the Kubelwagen and people, suggest to us, hey, have you looked at this vehicle? Well, that it's no skin off our nose to say, oh, let's look at making that. Let's look at bringing that in. As long as it adds more variety to the game and it doesn't feel like it's just a different coloured version of whatever we've got in there now, then we have to bring that in.
Okay, awesome. I think everybody's happy to hear that. Now, you've mentioned, obviously, tank destroyers, the new tanks and stuff. Just a real quick question. I think this has been on everybody's mind. When the new tanks come out, will there be, mounted machine guns on the tanks or spots on the tanks for, friendly allies to sit on while you drive to the front lines?
Yeah, so at the moment, we're just having a bit of a chat about that internally. So some of the considerations that we just kind of take into account are things like how difficult, because in so much as players sitting on top of tanks, we love that idea, we'd love to do it. So we're just thinking about how we do that in a way that doesn't mean that when the gunner turns his turret, it clips through the infantry.
Right.
And all the considerations with that, and doesn't get very janky. Which with the tanks and the barrels and that sort of thing can tend to do. I think some people understood early on, but basically you have a decision to make, and that is, do you let the barrel clip with things? And if yes, then you reach some of the problems that we had where the barrel would clip on a tree and stop the whole vehicle, or you could flip a tank with the barrel. The flips don't let the barrel to you can drive up to a building and then put the end of the barrel through the building and fire and obviously shoot in the building. So there are all these sort of considerations, technical considerations that get very fiddly about exactly sort of what we do there. So we're keen to do it. We're keen to make it work. We're just thinking about for particularly people riding on the top of tanks, because the barrel articulates independently to the chassis, there are lots of considerations. There's design considerations and visual considerations. When someone's on top of the tank using the not the coaxial machine gun, the mounted machine gun, what is the benefit of them using that to just being in the tank and firing the coal? If that's there, then what practical purpose does it serve in the game? We would want it so that if you could do that you would be ducking very low so that you weren't such an obvious target. Because, I think it's quite boring. There have been other games I've played where, the most effective anti-tanker is someone who just shoots the person out of the top of it. So we don't want that to be sort of the meta. So we want it to be, have great purpose. We want it to be animation challenge with the coaxial on top of the vehicle. Not the coaxial, the mounted, because you would ideally have the soldier on top of the vehicle moving his feet around and adjusting as he avoids situations, which we can do, we can figure it out, where he's moving around into the path of barrel or the coax and then gets TK'd by the gunner and all this. Or conversely, he's on and he can't shoot anything because using that is constantly turning the turret and adjusting his actual, his actual azimuth and his field of fire. So all this stuff is stuff we want to do, and sometimes it can seem quite simple to say, oh, okay, well, it'd be great to get that in. But then when you start to break it down into its components and then also like what's the function of it, that's when you start to run into some really interesting kind of technical and animation challenges, which I think that we solve. I just have to say, I think at the moment, we want to make sure that we get all the rest of the vehicles in first before we look at kind of tackling stuff like that, which can tend to, if not done correctly, you look at play games and they really struggle. To even,
Yes.
They struggle to accomplish it. So, yeah, just to kind of explain those are some of the conversations and technical challenges that to sort of have around, particularly anything to do with the vehicles like that. I mean, something that we have considered, just to keep rabbiting on and on about it, is that if we have, a Hetzer or a Ferdinand or something like that, where you have a fixed casemate with the gun lot, planted in the casemate, well, then I think that there would be a very good argument for a mounted gun on the top. I think that would be really cool design-wise that, you need to expose yourself out of the vehicle in order to utilize a mounted gun, because the fact is that the barrel doesn't articulate so freely.
Yeah.
And then obviously that then solves the problem of the barrel clipping into the guy on the gun. So yeah, definitely lots to think about there, but yeah, I think that we can overcome it. We just have to figure out ways how and make sure that obviously everything we do has a purpose and a function.
And it takes time to achieve as well. It's not just like you have an idea and let's make it happen. Over time, you learn as you go and you make sure everything runs smooth. So it's a time-consuming matter. It can be done. It's just it's not a click of a button, basically.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah.
Okay, and that question was from Fallen Syndicate. Now, at any time, Max, at all, I know you're a busy man. If you're running short on time at all, feel free to let me know. We do have a few more questions lined up from the community, so at any point, if you do have to leave, that's completely fine. Okay.
Oh, no worries. No. I'd love to answer.
Okay, that's awesome. The next question is from Toxam. He said, how are you approaching the UI design of the game? Are you trying to keep the UI simple and let the gameplay come forward, or are you embracing the World War II time period? I'm pretty sure you've already answered that anyway, but if you want to go into more detail.
Yeah, no, happy to. So the UI has sort of, to this point, sort of been kind of a whatever works and looks okay type mantra. Obviously, just because we've been developing as fast as humanly possible, and a lot of this infrastructure didn't exist. It's all fresh code. So what we're doing now, what you'll see in the next update, is that we've overhauled all of the role icons. All of the role icons now, and we will do a dev briefing and introduce this to you, to the community, and kind of explain the rationale behind all of it, because all of it is based in World War II iconography, but we've overhauled all the role icons so they're still clear. They have obviously, but they are distinctly World War II inspired. We're going to be basically just continuing to go through the UI and continuing to overhaul it, update it, improve it. The commendation time within the game is going to be extended. We're going to talk more about the commendation time, give you more prompts about it. All the rest of it, we're going to basically constantly overhauling it, constantly improving it, and constantly looking at it. And you'll see a significant overhaul in the next update.
Awesome, and we've already seen the progress, obviously, on the UI from alpha to where we are now, and it has made a lot of progress. So we know you've been working on it. So that's great to hear. The next question is from Smiths. I don't know how much you can go into this. As you said, you don't want to get yourself in trouble. But Smiths asks, is there I don't know how to pronounce this correctly, but Fire Bridge map in the pipeline? It was an incredibly battle for the Normandy invasion.
Yeah, I assume that's a Lafia Causeway.
Yeah, Lafir. Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
Which would be like the I think that's the Purple Heart Lane location.
Okay.
Um,
I mean,
would
wouldn't
be that.
I wouldn't be sure myself, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure.
No,
that's the question,
I don't want to get it wrong. Just make sure that we are. I'm 99% certain. Yeah, let me just double check, make sure that it is known by the same name. Let me just double check. I'm fairly sure it is. I need to just need to double check because we are planning to do Purple Heart Lane.
Okay.
I just need to make sure that we're looking at the same location. But I would be very, I'm super open to many new mapping ideas. I'm just double checking before I confirm that.
Yeah, Smith said in chat, Lafir Bridge is near Saint Mare Église. I don't know if that's perfect.
Yes. Yeah, let me just double check because Purple Heart Lane is the causeway that comes in to the north of Carentan from Saint-Condemont. And that was a very brutal battle as well. I know Lafir Causeway from obviously just doing Utah, and then obviously Saint Marie de Mont. Lafir Causeway was a main artery from the beaches inland, and obviously, super important in so much as quickly creating a bridgehead for the invasion on the Cotentin Peninsula. I just need to just double check that we're talking about same exact specific geography, but I will confirm that. But we'll be in the game, which is also a causeway, a battle of bridges, a battle of causeway, a lot of flooded fields, lots of different new challenges, things like that.
Okay. Well, we can come back to that question at another date if you'd prefer, because there is quite a few questions here. Obviously.
Yeah, no worries. Let's keep trucking.
Okay, this one is from Soundboard himself. You know him. He's the man with the beautiful voice. The progression system currently doesn't reward the recon role in terms of flanking and destroying enemy infrastructure. Are there any plans for tweaking the progression system to better reward this critical role?
Yes, definitely. The whole progression system needs tweaking. We're actually spending this holiday period, we're spending the time playing and obviously getting a sense of how fast things progress, and that is something that we need to alter for next, for the next update, for the next patch. We know that some roles, the commander and the officer, and a couple of do very well on their progression, and many other roles kind of struggle. And it is, I think it's happening slower than we'd like. Particularly for very dedicated players, we'd like you to be able to progress faster. It's never designed as this sort of impossible sort of mobile game-esque slog. So we're going to be adjusting all of the speeds by which you progress. So we're not going to make it super, but we're going to increase it from what it is now, and so that players who are concertedly playing the same role can actually see some meaningful progression. So we've got a couple of different ideas to balance out. And make that more satisfying.
Awesome, that's great to hear. I think for the players,
just to quickly as well talk about the recon side of things. We are going to start giving you some ability to do something more than just use a sniper rifle. Let's just say. So the recon, the sniper rifle almost become its secondary. Compared to what we're sort of keen to give that role.
Very interesting indeed. You've got my mind kind of traveling in 200 different directions now, wondering what that could be. That's awesome to hear. So Intrepidus, sorry if I said his name wrong, does Unreal Engine 4 allow any room for destructible environments or map modification? Could, for example, an artillery shell create a crater on the map in future? I think the main reason this question is asked is he recently upgraded.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different things to know. So Unreal Engine, I see people bashing Unreal Engine a lot, and I think it's important Unreal Engine, I think, and maybe I'm biased saying this in that it's what I'm most familiar with. It's what it's what I've used the whole time. It is an incredibly robust, amazing engine. To be very frank about it, it is the amount of tools that they offer is just kind of crazy, and the quality of those tools is also absolutely fantastic. I've heard horror stories about. But the thing to understand about Unreal is that, you can really make any game you could ever set your mind to in Unreal. And what that means is that some things will work well for some games, and obviously some things, and so we're fortunate that with HellLetLoose, a lot of the work that the Epic team of Fortnite has actually cross-pollinated really wonderfully. Like, you couldn't really ask for better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
100-player game in Fortnite just absolutely helps us and has helped us and will continue to help us. So as a part of that, the way that Epic seem to work is they'll polish one after the engine, normally like the area that needs the most polish quickest, like first, and then they'll sort of go back and then polish other aspects. So the destruction system within Unreal Engine is good, and we've prototyped a whole bunch of different destructible stuff. But when you talk about destruction, if you're a single player game, the destruction system in Unreal Engine is, you could blow like a wall and then shoot out it, and you'd hit heavier to destroy the rock exterior of the building. However, the big problem is networking. And then with networking destruction, basically what you're having to do is tell every player on the player server, hey, this fence post just got destroyed. It's absent now. There's no collision there. That's gone. So there are ways to do this, and I think that technically we feel that we achieve it either A, for big things like bridges, so allowing you to blow up a bridge. If there are only 3 bridges in a map for you to destroy, then we feel that that's a really good use of it. It's very immersive. It tactically informs the way that people play on the battlefield. It gives you more decision making, and also fundamentally you're only telling all the players once that the bridge is destroyed. Obviously you can imagine if you are live deforming landscape and everything is destructible, the amount of messages you're sending across the server to 100 players gets super heavy, and it actually results in really high latency, bad net code, and all the rest of it.
Natural.
So I think what we're looking at, and it'll be down the line, would be just smaller destructible fences. We could be a little bit loose, be a little bit loose with exactly communicate the fidelity of that. You look at Battlefield's Frostbite engine, and they've figured out an efficient way of communicating, and also figuring out a higher up communicate to all the players on the server. But I would suspect that is the reason why you 100 player Battlefield games. I don't know if that's the case at all. No, for us it makes things very, we've had to do a lot to make sure that play works well. So just as a disclaimer, I don't know if that's the reason. It might be a design reason, a game like Battlefield or Warfare or whatever. But for us, that's something to be very.
Yeah.
We would like to do fences and that. But yeah, bridges with where we only have to communicate it really once. I think that we all feel that that's pretty.
Yeah, I think I think destructible fences and whatnot is more than enough, to be honest. What you've already, I mean, with a full urban map coming out, adding that in is a massive task, and that would take time away from things that everybody already considers more important, including yourselves. Obviously, bring out the new maps, the new vehicles, and so on. So maybe just an idea in the background in future as technology advances, but for now, destructible fences is more than good enough for the community, I believe.
I appreciate it. I mean, look, we've tests done from full scale building destruction to, shooting down trees and things like that. But, I think our main priority is to make sure the game's, the game is smooth and playable. I think we've still got work to do.
Yeah.
Start moving on to more
I have absolutely no doubt you guys will achieve that. So our next question is from Artistic Mink. In the previous Ask Me Anything with Chuck, you mentioned the team was thinking about expanding how many players could have scopes on the battlefield, possibly giving them to recon spotters. Is there any updates on this yet?
Yeah. So the loadout system is basically that would allow us to do that. Obviously, now the loadout system is in the game, so I think what our initial thinking is it would be quite cool to have the spotter be able to lock kind of a similar weapon to the sniper. As I said, though, I think that we've failed from a design perspective, or if all recon players are just shooting people. I don't think that would be that compelling. I mean, it's cool, like it's nice to use a scope vehicle when they're in such limited supply, but I think we would feel like we'd fail in the appeal. But yeah, so that's basically going to be something bringing in. At the same time, with the new animation update, we're going to make the sniping experience, look better, feel better, be a little bit more challenging, a little less sort of 2D, despite what people think it's, the sniper projectile system. But we're going to be overhauling all the system early in the new year. It's actually kind of at the top of the list. And so as a part of that, we're going to make the sniper particularly a little bit more challenging to use. But again, more satisfying to use as well.
Awesome. I've only got 4 more questions, and then you're a free man. Freak Fighter asked, I think we already touched base on this one. Is it possible that we could have a Band of Brothers campaign mode which follows locations of Easy Company's battles throughout the war?
Yeah, so it won't be. We're not going to say this is Easy Company. This is what it is. But we're going to have a campaign where you can recreate the company journey through their tour duty. I should. You will be able to do it, but we're not going to explicitly say
it's Easy Company directly.
Yeah, because I think we want to do where Easy Company present time. And so, obviously, to do that will require a larger campaign than just the engagement.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a perfect answer for that question. Danny Bot said, will there be changes to physics in regards to vehicles? You already answered this, like how they interact with objects on the map and the fences. As you said, fences might be destructible, stuff like that, and you don't want the turret going through and shooting into a building. I think you've already pretty much answered that question.
We'll still be refined. Just want to quick and still be refined vehicles work. I mean, the way that we're working through early access is trying to get absolutely everything that we would consider to make full, HellLetLoose a full game, and then go back and revisit features and things that previously we signed off on, but we think that could be better. And just look at tightening that up more and making that more reliable. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So BlackMatter asked, now you did answer this question on Chuck's previous AMA, so just to see if there's an update of anything changed. Obviously with the increased vehicles, maybe new roles, etc., is there any possibility that the player count could exceed 100 players with capable servers? That's from BlackMatter.
It's not something that we've planned for at the moment. It is a very difficult one because to achieve 100 players is no mean feat, and I say that as someone who just requested that it happen, and our programming team were amazing and were able to enable that. A massive, from me, a massive to them on being able to achieve it. It is very difficult to achieve, and there are areas, and we're about to make it more complex. I think that introducing more vehicles, physics regards to wheeled vehicles, introducing a whole bunch more stuff will make it, more challenging on a net load perspective. I think for the time being, what we need to do is just make sure that the experience everyone is having within the game is as smooth as possible. I think there's still some latency in the game, some lags, things like that to be ironed first. I think that if we reach a good spot in 2020, then, we could look at maybe letting communities bump the limit up, but to say that, we'll get absolutely hung, drawn and quartered, both with the programming team and then with everyone else. So I have to be very careful around. I mean, just on a design level, the game is designed for 100 players. So obviously, the maps are designed to a certain the different units are designed as a portion of the different of the player size, of the team size. Everything is sort of designed around that 100-player limit. But I think if we reach or however long, if we reach a point where we feel like we've done a pretty good job on the net code, and for fun we could let some communities lift the total player count and see how it performs, then we could maybe have a look at it. But at the moment, I think 100 players has been a significant achievement for us to reach, and I think that we still feel like there's more optimization there, both on a netcode side and then also on a graphic and a GPU and a CPU side. We know that at the moment, lower-end machines or less powerful CPUs kind of struggle a bit and get a bit bottlenecked with the full 100 players, and so we want to make sure that we optimize before we start thinking about anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's a good focus mode. Obviously, you want every player to be able to enjoy the game before you decide to take it to another level where they might struggle again.
Oh, goodness.
If you haven't changed it
Oh,
already.
goodness.
Is everything okay, Soundboard? Oh, I just realized I was muted.
Yes.
Apologies, Max. Apologies.
No worries, no worries.
I had to pause the alerts on my stream. People started gifting subs, so I had to pause the alerts so they could hear you when you were talking. Apologies.
No. Well, that sounds great though. But no worries at all.
It's a good day. It's all thanks to you guys taking part in this. Star-Lord has asked, will they add an additional Panther for the Germans in all the maps? Not in terms of a new tank, but in the fact that they have the Tiger and the Panther and the Lux, whereas the US have 4 Shermans and the Stuart. Will they be adding another one to the German side in the battle, as in an additional one in the spawn?
So the way this is going to work right now, we don't have enough. So we've got like 5 different vehicles. Ultimately, what we're going to have is we'll have, I guess, what you would call a vanilla loadout for each map, and that would be a very, we're trying to figure out if that's tailored to every single map or it's a stock loadout per map. And what that stock loadout would represent the kind of the main components of all the vehicle gameplay within HellLetLoose. So the idea there is that you hop in, and without a commander, without X, Y, or Z, you'll be able to access the vehicles that will make the game fair. Obviously, you need to have vehicles in the game, and so knowing that you need to have vehicles in the game, we want to give you a loadout so that in a absolute worst case scenario, 2 teams could fight each other, and the vehicles at their disposal are balanced. They might be asymmetrical, but there's balance and symmetry. What the plan is to basically start just continue to make different types of vehicles. So instead of you spawning with 2 different types of Panther at main and a Tiger and a Look, Y and Z, what we will do is move some of the rarer variants or the more interesting variants out from just spawning default on the map to the commanders. And what we'll do is we'll then tie those to a fuel cost. And so what that will let you do then, the design there is, the idea is, okay, so you have something that makes the game fair, but you're able to spend your fuel resource on spawning something more specific for a particular map or a particular situation. And so we wouldn't seek to just add another Panther to the spawn roster, because the poor Americans will get absolutely annihilated if they've got overwhelming German armor in them. And we do want to kind of mirror that asymmetry. The Germans had less tanks, but obviously very powerfully gunned tanks. And I know that people have many arguments about was the Sherman bad? Was it good? X, Y, or Z? But there was definitely a very clear asymmetry within World War II, where often the Allies would have significantly more tanks versus obviously the incredibly powerful German, but less numerous German tanks. So the idea is that we stock loadout, and those will probably be not a boring loadout, but they'll be kind of the loadout you expect for that battle, for that force, and it would be balanced but asymmetrical. And so, in the same way that we have, the Allies have quite a few Shermans, and the Germans have less tanks, but obviously they've got the Tiger. So we'd have that, but then obviously the commander would then be able to mix things up and throw in wild cards at the cost of fuel resources. Obviously, at the moment, fuel is not really used as a resource at all. And so we're super excited. Obviously, the more variants of vehicles we add, the more we can add them to the commander's array of abilities. And so the commander's not just bombing things, calling in supplies, strafing things, or using the manpower abilities to try and alter the speed at which things are taken. You also have the ability to call in different vehicle reinforcements. And obviously, a really agile and tactical commander will constantly talk to the team he's playing with, will talk to the armored unit. And also, and critically, it means then that instead of it just always being that the German commander buys another Tiger at the start, there'll be a real, sense of decision making around, okay, so the Tiger, we can buy another Tiger, but it will be very expensive. Is it best for us to buy another Tiger, or is it actually best for us to buy, I don't want to talk about too many vehicles that are not out yet, but let's just say, is it best to buy a recon vehicle? We're in a really forested environment. Would a recon vehicle be more nimble and a better fit for the purpose of the map?
Right, there's more strategy to it at that point.
Yeah, so that's sort of where we want to.
That's awesome. Honestly, everything that you have said today, it sounds really exciting, and honestly, I can't wait. I wish it was all here today, but I know with the work you guys do behind the scenes that obviously the community don't get to see on a day-to-day basis, but they get to see when it comes out in the game is on another level. You guys are clearly committed to the game. We've seen the hard work pay off, and we're going to do everything possible on our end to make this game the success that it deserves to be. We know you guys are already doing your part. That's pretty much it for the AMA Max.
Thank you.
If there's anything else you would like to say, tell the community, the floor is yours.
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, well, I think, same as I know I'm a record, is a game for the community, from our perspective, by the community. I don't want to say that sort of, to be too cute about it, but we were players before we were developers, and we know that, if there is no community, then how do you play HellLetLoose? Who are you playing with? 99 bots? And so, from our perspective, the community is, we are incredibly thankful and incredibly encouraged by the level of engagement in the community. It's been amazing to see the absolute generosity. Reviews of the game on Steam, it's been amazing to watch our review score climb up. And that is a massive challenge to us to continue to match your expectations and exceed them, and try to exceed them, I should say. And ultimately, I think it's the same, is that if you're enjoying the game now, then that is all that we could ever ask for, and that is all. But we hope that you're going to enjoy the game even more next month. We're going to hope that you enjoy it even. We hope that by the leave early, you will have watched our sort of tiny little game become something that you would be hard pressed to distinguish. A very, very large AAA studio is kind of our. And then at the same time, I also just want to show people in the community, we're reading feedback. We know that there are issues in the game. We're very, very excited. Obviously animation, sound, we've got more vehicles, more content, bugs like the experience bug. We know that the redeploy sort of gameplay loop is pretty unsatisfying and a bit cheesy at the moment. So we're going to look at, obviously making engineering role. The support with the way they deploy supplies is going to be more interesting. The way that you deploy ammunition, the types of ammunition you put down are going to be more interesting. There's just so much for us to, so many new things. so excited. So if you're having a good time now, you know, we're really excited to show you what we've got planned for 2020 and beyond. And we're just really thankful, you know, for people buying the game. I do want to assure the community that, you know, look, we've been very blessed by the fact that so many people have bought the game and continue to buy the game. It's, you know, it's more than we could have ever predicted or asked. It's super encouraging, and it really just, you know, it gives us the energy to get out of the bed each morning and just and work to bring you something new, bring you something, you know, add better polish, and just continue to hope, guys. And you can just expect more of what you've experienced. It's almost 6 months now, actually. The last early test release, you expect more of the same work. And obviously always hopefully moving forward. But yeah, look, we're very excited.
Definitely. And guys, for everybody in chat, everybody watching on Steam, if you've enjoyed everything you heard, which I'm almost certain you did, the game is currently 20% off on Steam. So if you're even considering getting it, now is the perfect time to get it. Just real quickly, I want to say a thank you to obviously Max, Jaguar, Jono, we've got Spano, Soundboard, Chuck, Aggressor, everybody involved in getting this whole thing set up. And I do want to give a special thank you on my own behalf to everybody from Team 17, BlackMatter, and Team Dix, who chose me as the person to, you know, do the stream this weekend. It's an absolute privilege of mine to represent my favorite game. When I was told, I could not explain my excitement. This game is amazing. It is by far my favorite game of all time, Max. You guys are doing an amazing job. The community right now in chat are going crazy. Everybody's saying, thanks, Max. You guys are awesome. Keep it going. Everybody is extremely excited about everything you have said today. I know myself, I cannot wait for what's coming in 2020. And I personally want to congratulate you on an awesome, successful year of 2019. I'm really happy with how the game has gone for you.
Thank you very much.
And I would just ask if you keep putting the work in, we'll keep you know, the community playing the game, because we know it's going to go really far.
Look, really appreciate it, and it's been great to chat to you as well, Fridges. It's you know, it's really nice that the community are excited and excited to even do it, you know, so it's really more than I could ever ask for. And, you know, look, I look forward to doing the next one whenever.
Definitely, 100%, and I cannot wait. So, Max, I'm gonna let you go. You're a free man now. You are no longer you're no longer trapped here. Thank you again for everything, for coming in, taking the time out of your day. We know you're a very busy man, so I really appreciate you taking time out of the day to talk to the community. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and a very good New Year.
Oh, thank you very much, and also to you, all the Team Dix guys, Aggressor, Coop, all the different clan members and communities, Power Bits, Ninth Fulsham. Yeah, there's so many there. 501st, just all the community. I'm sorry if but thank you, everyone, for the amazing support. Thank you to the whole community. Thank you to anyone in this stream, and I hope everyone has a really fun Christmas, has a really great New Year, and I look forward to seeing you on the front line.
One of my viewers also said, if you want to come back for another Q&A, he will buy you a better phone. a bit of cheek.
Excuse me, you're hearing the...
No, it's
sore throat talking.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm extremely satisfied. I don't think the Q&A could have gone any better, Max. You nailed it, and it was awesome.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, Max. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, chat.